You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. The Cincinnati Bengals return to the field Sunday morning with a new teammate in tow, and Shemar Stewart, the Bengals' first-round pick, is signed in camp, and everyone's excited. Lap, what did you see out of the first-year player?
Yeah, I saw a guy that looks like he was drafted exactly where he should have been drafted, that being the first round. Probably people had different opinions how high up in the first round, but definitely a first-round draft pick, and the Bengals got him pretty much right in the middle of the first round. I feel like they think it's pretty good value. And he stated today, as he's done prior to today, but he reiterated today that he's glad to be in Cincinnati. He wanted to be a Cincinnati Bengal, and he's glad the contract ultimately worked out, and he's here in Cincinnati working hard to be a valuable piece and an additional piece for Al Golden to use to make opposing offenses uncomfortable, because this kid has extreme position versatility. I mean, he can do a lot of things. He's a very, very gifted athlete. The good Lord, tapped him on the shoulder and on his head and said, I'm going to make you physically and mentally gifted, and you're going to be able to handle a lot in both areas. You're going to be big, strong, fast, agile, mobile. You're going to be able to change direction with the best of them. You're going to be as good an athlete over 250 pounds as I've ever been associated with. And he is. I mean, he is something to see. He really is. Extremely fluid, extremely smooth, very athletic. And the good Lord gave him a mind to balance that. He's very, very sharp, understands what coaches are telling him, understands why the coaches are asking him to do what he's being asked to do. And it seems to be a very likable teammate, which I think is important. Don't come in and rock the boat. And he has shown no signs of doing anything like that. In fact, he wants to be just part of the group. He's I think he associates with people very, very easily. He's got a very good personality, easy to get along with. Teammates really like him.
Lap, missing 3 days. You're a veteran. You've been around many training camps, been part of many training camps as well as a player. Missing 3 days, how far does that set him back?
It shouldn't be too bad, Dave. It could be a lot worse, obviously. But Al Golden has done quite a bit of installation. He wanted to get a lot of his defense in the heads of his players, and he's got playbooks to basically reemphasize everything they talk about at meetings. They can reference that playbook anytime that they want to, and relearn as such, and reemphasize the key points to what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. So he missed not just the 3 days of training camp. The players are talking about the OTAs and the practices that they had on the football field, the organized team activities, as very, very pivotal and instrumental in their learning and understanding of Al Golden's defense. Well, he missed all that. And then, like you said, missed 3 days of training camp to boot. And that's a reemphasis, at least, if not more, of what was already installed in the OTAs and the meetings that they had. Not all of the meetings were before organized team activities. They had meetings that were not followed by practice on the field. So, he missed a lot of meeting time, missed a lot of installation on the football field, learning in the meeting room, installation on the football field. All that is significantly important when you're a young player, when you're a rookie. And so he's behind, but is he behind the 8 ball? I don't think so. I think he's too smart for that. So I think he'll catch up. It's a matter of how quickly he'll catch up. And it may be a very, very quick process for him to catch up. Because honestly, in the defensive line, there's probably it's probably easier to catch up there than it would be at linebacker or on the back end, with all the nuances and the changes and coverages and leaning on each other for everything. And when the opposition puts different players in formations and motions them and goes to different strengths of the formation and runs different plays out of it. There's a lot, man. There's a lot to comprehend, a lot to adjust to. Defensive linemen don't have to worry about all that stuff. So I think he does have that edge just by the mere fact that he plays on the edge at defensive end.
In about 11 days, the Bengals will take on the Eagles in the first preseason game of the season. Do you see Shemar Stewart being part of that preseason game?
I do. I really do, Dave. I think he will. There's quite a bit of work that's still left to be done. There is quite a bit of work that we've already talked about that has been done and has been left out on the football field. And he missed a good chunk of that. There's no question about it. He's behind. But I do think he has the capability of catching up both physically and mentally in the practices that they've got left to get playing time against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, will it be as much playing time as it would have been if he had reported with everybody else? If he had signed a contract early and been part of OTAs and training camp and all that sort of thing that he could have been part of? Probably not. They may not play him as many snaps as they would have if he had been involved in all that, because the last thing you want to do is, play too many snaps too early and pull a groin, hamstring, calf muscle, whatever the case may be. You want to make sure that you're football ready, that your body, your muscles are football ready as well. You can be in great shape in terms of the weight room, cardiovascular, sprinting, all that sort of thing. But then there's football, and there's, the pushing and pulling of football. There's the hitting those shoulder pads and helmets and getting those pads and helmets anchored, and in hitting that part of football is part of the conditioning of football as well. So I'm not sure if they want to necessarily overdo it against the Philadelphia Eagles, but I don't know what they think is overdoing it with respect to him. He may be a guy. There are players that can take on the world in a very short time frame. They're that gifted, they're that talented. Is he that kind of guy? I'm not sure he's that kind of guy, but he may be able to do a little bit more than what I'm talking about right now. He may be somewhere in between what that really talented guy might do and what the normal guy would do if that guy had missed this much of training camp and everything that goes along with getting your mind and body ready during the course of training camp. So it'll be interesting to see how many snaps he does play, how many series he does play. And I think, though, that when he is on the football field, I expect a very, very strong performance because this kid has talent.
You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. First Star Logistics is hiring. Lapham and I can attest it's a great place to work, great work environment, a lot of little perks along the way. Lap, let me get to this point. Trey Hendrickson is still the guy outside of camp. How important is it to get him in camp if the Bengals are to have a season? You said this team is on the verge. You feel this team is a team that can compete to win a Super Bowl in this season. How important it is to get Trey Hendrickson in this camp here in the next several days?
Vitally, Dave. Extremely. I can't come up with another word. It's a must. Let's put it that way. To put it simply, I do think that this football team can win the Super Bowl. I've said it, publicly before, even before training camp started. I've said it since training camp has started, and other interviews and radio shows and podcasts, et cetera, and podcasts we do. I think it's a Super Bowl champion. It would not shock me if they go undefeated. I think they are that good a football team. I think they have a quarterback that fits that mold. I think they've got wide receivers that fit that mold. I think they've got coaches that can utilize that talent that we're talking about to the highest level. And the sky is the limit. I think this offense is ridiculous. I think the numbers they can put up are stratospheric. It's like, man, the bar is high. The bar is high. And they're going to climb that ladder of success one rung at a time, and I think they're going to get to the very top. I think they win the damn thing. I think they win the Super Bowl. So, with that said, everybody's got to do their thing. Everybody has to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one practice at a time. Don't get yourself too far ahead from you're hearing everything. You're hearing all the accolades. You're hearing all the praise. Don't let it go to your head. Don't let it go to your head. Keep your feet on the ground. Just know that you are a good football team, and know that if you do everything you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, and know why you're supposed to do what you're doing when you're supposed to do it, you're going to win. You can't not. You're too good. I mean, if you take care of business in that regard, and don't get too big headed where you can't put your hat in your head anymore. It's swelled up too big. You don't want that. I mean, you want to be just poised, precise, and you want to be a learner. You can't give me enough opportunity to grasp what you want me to do. Let me learn. And great learners win football games, and they have a great understanding of the game of football, and they know how to apply it on a week to week, play to play, snap to snap, game to game basis. And this football team, like I said, if they do that, if they just take care of the basics, take care of the fundamentals, and don't get swept away with trying to be too cool for school, don't try to do too much too soon, don't try to get too fancy, keep the fancy pants in the closet, just show up and knuckle down and play football.
Even though this is only day 4, are there guys you're seeing, Lap, that are starting to kind of separate themselves, maybe surprising you with their performances in camp as far as they've taken that next step? You feel that they're ready to explode on the scene. They've been a solid player, but they've been learning and make some mistakes here and there. We talked in the previous episodes about the work Geno Stone's been doing. It sounds like Al Golden's extremely happy with Geno Stone. You see some other guys out there on the field that are really stepping forward.
Yeah, I do think that Geno Stone is stepping forward, Dave. I think Al Golden, wants him to, hopes he will, and I think he likes that he's seeing that he's in the infancy stages of doing that. He's headed in the right direction, and his graph is going up every single day, every single practice that he gets under his belt. Now, he hasn't had that many yet, but there's been improvement, market improvement, noticeable improvement, every single day. And I think he's feeling very, very comfortable with Al Golden's schematic. And with comfort comes, like free-flowing performance. There's no hesitation. There's no doubt. It's like, I know where I'm supposed to be. I know why I'm supposed to be there. I know what I'm supposed to do when I get there, and I'm going to do it. And that's what he's doing on the defensive side of it. Offensively, I'd have to go with Amarius Mims. Mims is immensely gifted physically. Once again, the good Lord blessed him now. Tapped him on the shoulder for physicality, tapped him on the head for the mindset. I mean, this guy is just a massive human being, close to 6'8", close to 350 pounds. And when you look at him, you don't think, oh my gosh, man, he looks like he's just like a normal sized guy, until you see him around normal sized guys. Then you realize he's a behemoth. He's a giant. And he is so smooth athletically. I mean, talk about free flowing. This guy is, athleticism oozes out of every pore of his body. And he is big, and he is strong, and he is physical, and he's flexible, and he's got change of direction. He's got all these traits that, are for a right tackle to have, would put him in a category of potential superstardom. And I think that's where he might be headed. And he seems to learn quickly. He doesn't make mistakes, and that's good. I mean, you don't want to be a guy that's costing your offensive line big plays, yards that are accumulated in a big play fashion, and then it's nullified because he was offsides. He was set. His stance was, he put himself in his stance too far off the line of scrimmage, and it was an illegal formation as a result of that. He didn't jump offsides, but he lined up wrong. You can't do that. You can't hold. You don't want to be a guy that is costing your team big yards and potential points because you made a mistake. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, how you were taught to do it. And Amarius Mims, he has the physical ability and talent to be a leader on this offensive football team because of his natural talent and the way he could potentially play football, and then his mindset to the game of football, and he's not going to make a bunch of mistakes. And he's a very good teammate. He's a leader. Guys gravitate toward him because he's so damn big. I mean, you kind of go to the big guy, and see if he can be any kind of a leader, because physically he just stands out, and you gravitate toward him. And that happens with Amarius Mims, but he's got the personality and the makeup, and he's just a very, very easy guy to like, easy to be around, and an easy guy to follow.
Along the offensive line, basically three spots are pretty much set in stone. Ted Karras at center, Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle, Mims at right tackle, the two guard positions. How big are those battles? They're going to, as we get into this first, working towards this first preseason game. Is this something we're going to see at some point mid-camp, maybe, that the two people who are going to be manning those positions find their way there? Or is this going to be a thing that's going to go all the way up until week one?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question, Dave. I mean, you're a football guy, the game cold. And it's a battle royale at the guard position. And it could be determined, fairly quickly, could be determined after the first preseason game, or maybe after the second one, or it might not be determined for the opener. It still might be, it's up for grabs. Multiple guys are going to be playing multiple positions for multiple series. It's going to be a rotation of guys at the two guard positions. And you don't want it to be a merry-go-round. You want to, the one thing you want to do first and foremost is to get your lineup set and let them get snaps as a group. Let them get ready for the opener, and let them, feel what it's like to play next to each other, to experience the mentality of going to the line of scrimmage, seeing the defense, making a call, set yourself, make an adjustment if they make some kind of a change up front that requires you to make an adjustment in your calls and blocking assignments and all that sort of thing. You'd like to get that done and get that established and get repetitions and comfort level on that part of it as soon as you possibly can. So do I think that you're right, Dave? The two guard positions are, it's up for grabs. Who wants it? Who wants to be the man? Step up and show you want to be the man. Don't waste any time. Let your coach know, this is my job. I'm the right guard. I'm the left guard. I'm the guy that's going to be the one that other teammates can count on, and I'm going to be there for them, and they can count on me that I'm not going to mess them up by being in the wrong place at the wrong time and hurting the offensive line, and making the offensive line not look as good as they're really playing because of me, because of one guy. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy that nullifies first downs, nullifies big plays gained for those first downs, nullifies chunk plays, 20, 30-yard plays, nullifies touchdown plays because of stupid mental errors or physical things that you didn't do right in terms of techniques and fundamentals. You definitely don't want to be that guy. This offense has the potential to be prolific. They're going to be extremely proficient. There's no question about it. And you don't want to be a guy to put kind of a chink in any kind of armor.
We talk offensively, we talk defensively. We haven't really talked much about special teams. Evan McPherson returning after injury kind of sidelined his career last season. Talking about what you're seeing out of McPherson, also Adamitis at the long snapping position, and special teams overall.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are blessed with the best special teams coach in the National Football League. And I say that unabashedly. I think I'm a big Darren Simmons fan. Always have been, always will be. This guy understands football. He is a football coach. He is a football savant. Special teams are his expertise. He's as good at coaching his position and his phase of football as anybody coaching football today. So I think it starts there, that the Bengals are very, very blessed to have Darren Simmons at the helm making decisions on what they're going to do schematically, how they're going to attack people, and then who they're going to do it with. Who is going to be the punter? Who is going to be the place kicker? Who is going to be the holder? What guys are going to be taking the most snaps for me in special teams? And I know I'm going to be rating the other two groups, phases, offense and defense, and position groups within those phases. I know that I'm going to have a lot of wide receivers, defensive backs, linebackers running around down the football field for me on kickoff and punt team. I know I've got to have some skilled return guys. Andre Yosivach could be an interesting guy to watch. Charlie Jones is somebody that has big play potential. He always seems to bust one. I mean, he's going to take one to the house, or he's going to take one close to the house on a return. Yosivach I think, has the potential to be extremely consistent with his returns. I think he's very, very physical. I think he's deceptively fast. He's got really good speed. In that combination, that size-speed ratio makes him a very, very dangerous return guy as a kickoff returner. I think Charlie will be the punt returner, and Charlie will return kickoffs as well. They'll have two back there in kickoff return, but Charlie Jones will be the punt return specialist. So, all those phase of things will be handled. And then we get to Evan McPherson. The punting. I think the punting is in good hands. I think that it got the only question last year was a little bit of inconsistency. So just be very consistent with hang time. Not distance. Distance wasn't an issue, but hang time, because hang time immediately affects coverage ability. And if you can't cover well enough because of lack of hang time, you're looking at a problem with respect to a dangerous return, right in your face immediately. And you don't want to very early, right away in the football game, first quarter, second quarter, or whatever, give up a big return that's set up at the opposing offense for a short field touchdown, or worse yet, you gave up special teams points. You don't want to do that. You do not want to be outscored from a point standpoint in special teams during the course of a game. All three phases have to handle business. Special teams obviously has to handle their end of the business. But Evan McPherson has the potential to be as good a kicker as there is in the National Football League. The dude has a powerful leg. He has a leg that he can boom the football. Man, he can hit it high, deep, far, hang time. That's the thing that he's really blessed with, is his hang time when he's hitting it right, is amongst the best in the NFL, if not the best in the National Football League. And that's what Darren Simmons covets. Any special teams coach does. Hang time. I mean, that's something that's hard to coach. Either a guy can do it or he can't. And when you have a punter and a place kicker that can have hang time, you're in high cotton. Man, that's something that you don't find every day. And when you unearth one and somehow get him on your roster, you want to keep him on your roster first and foremost. You don't want him to go anywhere else. You want him to perform. You want to make sure that this guy shows the world what he can do kicking the football in terms of hang time. And Evan McPherson is blessed in that regard. He's been very accurate at training camp. So, I mean, if he can get those long, high arcing hang time field goals like Money Mac, or he got the name Money Mac because of that. If Money Mac can be Money Mac this year, the Bengals are in high cotton.
You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. Again, First Star Logistics is hiring, one of the fastest growing companies in Cincinnati. Let's close it out on this lap. Like you said, offense, defense, special teams. We also have, when you're in the trenches, you have a chance to talk to different members of the Bengals personnel department that put together this roster, be it Duke Tobin or other members of that staff. They've assembled a pretty strong roster for this training camp, haven't they?
They really have. Yeah, I've talked to Duke Tobin. In fact, ate lunch with Duke Tobin yesterday, and he's excited. I mean, we were in the cafeteria at Paycor and sat down and just kind of talked through what the early stages of camp, what has unfolded there, and what his thoughts were on it, and then obviously I say, hey Duke, you got to be happy with the people you have at training camp. I mean, your roster, it's plentiful with superb football players. I mean, potential superstar football players. And you got coaching that can take them to another level. You get really, really fine football coaches that knows what it takes to take a player from average to good or good to great. Just ratchet them up another notch, advance them in their career growth. So I think that the personnel department has hit a lot of deep shots, man, a lot of long balls. They've hit some home runs with respect to the roster they put out there. In my mind, Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in football. He can make any and every throw you want, and he can do it over and over and over again. It's not just a one-time thing with Joe Burrow. He's proven that, he's in for the long haul. He's going to do it as long as you want him and need him to do it. And then he's got Jamar Chase on the outside, T. Higgins on the outside, opposite each other. Sometimes they'll line up on the same side of the football field formationally and cause a lot of problems. They cause problems on opposite sides of the football field, taking the top off of defenses and then letting Yossi Vash and Gesicki and people like that work the middle of the football field, the underneath portions of the football field. The Bengals personnel has staffed the Bengals offense and defense and special teams with people that can function and perform at a high level everywhere, every position group that we're talking about in all three phases: special teams, offense, defense. Like I said before, I think this football team can run the table. I think they can go into the Super Bowl undefeated and then win the Super Bowl. It would not shock me if they go undefeated in the AFC North. It's a very physical, tough division. No easy task. I mean, it's not just blink your eyes and you go undefeated, snap your fingers, you go undefeated, man. There's a lot of work, man. It is a heavy grind, a lot of heavy lifting. But I think this football team's up to the task. And if they can run the AFC North, they can beat anybody in the National Football League, any team that the NFL has to offer. So to me, the personnel department has done a phenomenal job. They've done what they're supposed to do. They have given the coaches players to work with: offense, defense, and special teams.
You've been in the trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. We ask you to like, subscribe, and share In the Trenches with Dave Lapham. And Lap, as always, we appreciate the time. Busy time of year, just going to get busier and busier as we continue through training camp, get into those preseason games. And before we know it, it'll be the start of the 2025 NFL season.
Amazing, Dave. It really is amazing. And I just want to tell people how much I enjoy working with you and doing In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, because it's produced by Dave Burke, and he does it as well or better than anybody. I'll take Dave Burke over any producer in the podcast world, because you know what you're doing. You know what the people want. You know how to put it together. You know how to present it. And you put together a great story. Help tell a great story every single podcast that we do. So you are, like a lot of the players we talk about with the Cincinnati Bengals and the coaches, you are the best in the business. You are the man. Dave Burke. He's one of one.
Appreciate the kind words, Lap. Until next time, everybody, hoo-day.
Hoo-day.